Calling the zoning hearing board for Lower Makefield Township for meeting for May 2nd, 2023 to order. We have 5 members here today, Matt Connors, Mike Moore, and there's the 3 of us here. So on the appeals, after we get past the discussion on the Selco Tower Appeal 23-1999, it'll be a simple majority for those appeals. We have 3 of them tonight. First up is discussion though is the continuance for appeal 23-1999, the Selco Partnership cell tower over on 375 Stony Hill Road. Due to the level of engagement of various parties and the fact that the township board of supervisors now has to get conflict counsel, all of the attorneys in discussion agreed that the first date that they all had available for a meeting on that they could attend would be August 1st, 2023. I don't know if anybody wants to add any comments to that. No, I'm talking just about the continuance here. If anybody wants to comment on the continuance. Okay, given that for this vote, Judy over here will not be able to participate. It'll be the other 4 members of the board here.
So I'd like to make a motion to continue appeal number 23-1999 to August 1st, 2023.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Appeal 23-1999 is continued to August 1st, 2023. So I suspect a good portion of this crowd was here for that. You're welcome to leave now.
Rest of you were a little nervous, right? Oh my God, who showed up for our appeal?
Or you looked at the appeal at the list of appeals here and saw that one was going to be first. All right. The next appeal up is 23-1997, Andrew and Jackie Cush. If you could please come forward to the microphone and be sworn in, and then Mr. Flagler here will read in the exhibits.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have the application as A1, site plans as A2, the impervious surface breakdown calculations, as well as the stormwater management small project volume control that'll be collectively marked as A3. Proof of publication is B1, proof of posting is B2, and B3 is the notice to the neighbors.
Okay, please stay close to the mic so that the sound is picked up for anybody that happens to be online and also for the record.
Okay, got it.
Go ahead and explain what it is you'd like to do.
Yeah, so my name is John Brunette. I'm the landscape designer on the project. This is Jackie Cush. She is the property owner. The Cushes are looking to install a concrete swimming pool. So in order to do that, and put any kind of pool deck there, that'll put us over on our impervious surface allowance. So the variance we are requesting is from the zoning ordinance for impervious surface. And I guess to summarize it, the property currently sits at 22.9% impervious. We're looking to add 425 square feet of net impervious, which takes us to about 23.8%. So a little less than 1% that we're proposing to add. And then as stormwater remediation, based on the township calculation sheets, we're proposing collecting stormwater runoff from that back section of the roof there as the map shows, and then constructing a groundwater infiltration pit to accept that runoff and store it and recharge the groundwater.
Okay, questions from the board?
So is the the area within the fence all concrete around the pool, or is it just that bluestone patio?
It's just the bluestone patio there at that far end of the pool where the steps enter. And then it's the bluestone stepping stones that connect the existing terrace to the pool. So
Okay.
inside that fence, it's grass at the moment, and there'll be, some trees and shrubs installed in a limited fashion. So there'll be turf and landscaping inside that fence. So just that part labeled bluestone patio is the actual pool deck.
Okay. And that the garden area is being removed. I couldn't figure out if the gardening area was pervious or impervious.
No, it's a lot of boxwood hedging. It's kind of like an old formal
Okay.
rose garden. So that footprint that's shown there is some boxwood hedging, and there's some cobblestone curbing and a center area with lawn in it. So I guess I would call it an old formal rose garden. So it's,
Okay.
99.5% permeable.
Gotcha. Okay. I have no further questions.
So I'm looking at the plan you presented, and just to confirm that I'm understanding it correctly. It looks like the part of the existing dwelling that we have outlined in a purple marker with the rain leader going to the infiltration pit. That's the only part of the existing dwelling that is actually being directed into that infiltration pit.
Correct.
Okay, is it possible if we needed you to direct more of that roof runoff into an infiltration pit, would that be possible?
Yeah, I'm sure that's possible. We chose that area based on the way the rain leaders are set up and what sections of roof feed that rain leader and what we can pretty easily capture and direct to an infiltration pit. So yeah, sure. I'm sure if there's other sections of the roof that we can capture, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that I need you to do that. I'm just curious. I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I understand what was presented.
Yeah, and I think we're over. I mean, some of it is because the roof is the size that it is, but I think we're over. I think the roof surface area exceeds the bluestone area. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're capturing more than we're adding.
Yep. Dan, you took a look at this, right?
Yes, myself and Jim verified the calculations.
Okay. All right, cool.
And it's mitigating for the 504 feet, even though that's more than because that's that's tied to the rain leader, or is it just mitigating the net increase?
I believe it's just mitigating the net increase, the 425 square feet, correct?
Yeah, I mean, slightly more. I think the roof area ends up being 500 square feet or so, but I just wanted to at least, hit that 425 mark. And then just go a little bit beyond. So there's on that stormwater calculation sheet also, there's some existing trees that we're preserving as well. So, I mean, that adds to it a little bit. But in general, just looking to go a little over and above what we're adding, just in good faith to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
More. I think it's required is 71 cubic feet and they're doing 90.
They're offsetting the roof that they're feeding to it. So, any other questions from the board? Or is there any comment online? Okay. Then a motion would be entertained.
I'll make a motion to approve appeal 23-1997 as submitted, subject to review and approval by the township engineer.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries as discussed.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is appeal 23-2-2002. I apologize for any mispronunciation of the name here before I say it. Vilius Zevistoskis. If you could please come up and get sworn in and the exhibits can be read in.
All right. We have the application as A1. We have the site plans as A2. Actually, we're going to do the one set of. Yeah. Okay. Site plans is A2, proof of publication B1, proof of posting B2, and B3, notice to the neighbors.
Hey, how are you doing? My name is Vilius Zavistauskas. Yes, I do. Vilius Zavistauskas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
We want to add addition on my house, and because kinda for too small, the house is too small. We 4 members family, and only have 2 bedrooms. So we need to addition on our house in front of our enclosed porch. And the addition is like 414 square feet.
Okay. I'll open it up to questions from the board, and I believe
This is in the floodplain, if I'm not mistaken.
you can ask. Please ask the question. That's an Stan question.
I am asking.
No, it's not in the FEMA regulated floodplain.
What is the impervious surface allowed for this lot?
It says 13%,
13.
Yes,
and I have like 19 with everything.
yes, the property is zoned RRP for the resource protected and the max allowable is 13%.
You need to go to 19. Okay. You're at 17.2 now. Over anyway.
Dan, is Lippman Lane a paper street?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know anything about the easement that's potentially there or not there in that area?
It's already extinguished, and I have like paperwork from the previous owner, like deed of easement.
What type of easement was it?
It's it's extinguished easement.
But do you know what the easement was for? Like, was it an access easement? So like your neighbors could?
Yes, we because the previous owner like had with township agreed that because I have another, like we have 2 parcels. The second parcel is 20,028,030 also belong to me, and they let the last line like 2 or 3 feet from the right side is dedicated to access for all neighbors, and it's like gravel walkway. So that's, I believe, what we say easement.
That gravel walkway is still there?
Yes,
Okay. And is that Lippman Lane? Or is that a different area on the
that's
property?
different area. That's what township like between township and the previous owner was like.
So that's what's labeled Lot 2. Is that correct? That says this declaration of easement.
You see the the portion of
Lot 2.
like between 030.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause They have.
all the way, like, it's all
Yeah,
the
but the
last,
actual subdivided label, spot label lot two says.
Correct. Yeah, no, there's technically a mistake, I think, on the plans as far as the parcel numbers. I think the one, and I spoke with Dan about this earlier, I think the one on the right is really 031.
Yes, that's correct.
oh,
So it's 030 and 031.
yes, 3-1, I believe, next one, it's on the right side.
So to clarify, 03 is the former lot 16 through 20 and 031 is former lot 21 through something.
Yes.
Okay. And then, but both of these lots are you're building on both of these lots at this, for this house.
I'm building on the first lot and the Lipman Lane. That's that.
But Lippman Lane was extinguished, so it should become part of lot 3-1.
Yes. So yes,
So basically you're treating both of these lots as one lot. So where I'm going with this is like, that gives you like 22,000 square feet, not the 10,000 and change.
yes, it's that's more, and for impervious surfaces, it's supposed to.
Um. Let's see.
It actually totals 22,233.6 square feet when assembled.
So if we look at, this is a question for council, because we're being, two lots are being treated as one in this, is if we look at it from that perspective, then there is no reason for a impervious variance. However, there may be, is there anything about building on two lots? Or
Actually,
crossing
are
the
those
property
two
line?
lots? They're separate tax parcels, but had they been merged into one lot?
No.
No, there's still continued two separate
Okay.
lots. It's
separate. I still paying separate taxes on them.
Oh, yeah, that means that you are building within the setback of the line then also.
right, but it's common ownership. So this is a question for council here. Do we treat this as two separate lots, or do we treat this as one? And then,
Yeah, I mean, if you formally go through the process of having it made into one, it changes the dynamics of it, obviously, and the lot size would be bigger, although I think I had a smaller number, but I think that's probably because the paper street doesn't show up on like the GIS site.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a result, I think that's why there was the need for the variance, is because they technically they're two lots legally, even though in practice it's one big lot.
okay,
Now, wouldn't there be a setback problem here then? If it's two separate lots with where they're putting that addition relative to the division between the two lots? Dan?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the setback issue because I kind of noticed this today in terms of the placement of the addition.
Because I guess technically they're increasing the setbacks.
They're building it,
They're
Yeah.
further correct.
encroaching into it.
Further
They're
encroaching.
they're encroached into it already. They're further encroaching into it. It's
I
already.
mean, generally speaking, I don't have a problem with the project. I just want to make sure that we're giving him the correct variance so that he doesn't have to come back if there is an issue.
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. If it is combined, then I think you would eliminate both.
You don't have both issues.
Yeah, you'd all be,
Then the setback, because you'd still have sufficient room, so it wouldn't be a setback for the new boundary.
Right.
And The percentage, I believe, would be fine on the impervious.
Yep.
If the two lot areas were combined, Dan, what would the net impervious be after the addition?
It would have to be below.
I would think it has to be below.
Yeah, it's somewhere around like 9%. It's
So when I look at this with my experience, here's my take on it. So the lot that is 20-28031, which has lot 1 and 2 on it. And also I'm assuming it has lot 21 and the other 33-foot wide parcel. It's subordinate to the main lot, which is 20-028-030. And because of the setback where the house was built, it appears that the house was built right on the property line. The driveway for the house and the enclosed porch for the house are on the second parcel. So realistically, the harm to the remainder, what I mean by that is if these homeowners decided to sell off 20-28031, it would significantly harm the remainder. What I mean by that is they would no longer have a driveway. They would no longer have an enclosed front porch. They would have this strange house that just sat there. But I think, again, I know Matt's question is what's legal, and I don't know the answer to that. But what I do know is these two lots as assembled need each other. Does that make sense? One really can't perform as a commodity without the other.
Yeah, and correct. That's kind of what we were talking about is they're legally separate, but in practice, it's one lot.
What I'm a little confused by is where is the addition going? Is it going? Yeah, I don't have that for some reason. Okay, so
That's the sheet.
Yeah, it's coming off the front porch.
it's coming off the front porch. Okay, so because yeah, there it is. Because if
Yeah.
it was coming off the back, I was concerned. I mean, Dan, did you look at setbacks, or are we okay with a setback? Because between the patio, which is 10-foot, and the 18-foot addition, so that's 28 feet. What's our setback like from the property line from the
Well-
end of 28-031?
Well, the front and the rear setbacks aren't an issue because he's not extending into either one of them. He's not increased. So the
No,
front setback.
it would be a side yard setback. So is the side
would be a
yard
side yard
setback?
setback, which he's already on the second.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, this is where my question comes from.
Yeah. No, you know what confused me was the driveway. So the driveway, I'm used to being in like the front of the
Yep.
house or the back of the house, but it turns out, yeah, it's in the side yard. I see that.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, if we're advised that we treat this as one lot, then, I guess I'm just asking for guidance on like.
I
how
do
we
I do have a question on the one lot or two lots. These,
Yeah.
if it was still treated as two lots and say, in response to the question about they both front on that street there. So it technically would be possible to demolish the one house and build two separate houses
More
on
s-
that property without it, or if it isn't formally converted into one property.
But if they did that, that would then render all of this moot anyway, right? Because
Right.
the addition is on the second lot. I mean, once this addition gets built, these two lots are basically performing as one assembled lot.
That's kind of how I saw it, is like if it was one lot, there wouldn't be all the issues that we're looking at. And it might be the simpler solution.
But what
I don't know the legalities.
what is the nature of the new addition? Because you have to egress through the enclosed patio to get this to this addition. Is it enclosed living area?
Yes, it's like now it's as an office, but it's enclosed and it's
And we're going to keep
Fully-
the enclosed
fully working.
porch because on the drawing it's called a patio, but it's going to
it's
be an enclosed porch.
porch. Yes,
Okay.
fully livable.
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt's instincts are right on this, which is it should be an assembled lot. I know I'm a broken record, but you know, if to Pete's point, they would go to demolish everything, well, then none of this matters anyway.
So what is, well, I don't know why I can't seem to find it right now, but what would the total impervious area be with this all combined? And what is the total lot size of the two lots combined?
So if you were to combine parcel 30 and parcel 31, it would be 0.41 acres, which is 17,859 square feet. But I don't know if you would include that land in between it.
No, you include Lippman Lane because it's
But
been
the-
extinguished.
So I,
GIS, that's what Dan and I were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. The GIS doesn't have that easement,
I can pull it up.
but it potentially doesn't because there was if it's a paper street, then maybe they weren't including that. So it looks like one square lot and one narrower rectangular lot on the GIS site, which is why you get that, 17,000 figure and not 22,000.
But,
Right, but if-
but they're including the impervious area is going into that paper lot. So
Sure,
for
yeah,
the street, paper
I'm just saying
street, so-
that's further complicating this whole
Yes.
thing is that you can't even,
Mm.
so yeah, that's 030.
And then this one I'm clicking on now is 31 for reference.
Yeah,
See that there's
And then where my cursor is this Lippman Lane paper road in
no
question.
man's land.
so if that easement's been extinguished, then legally it reverts to prior ownership, which I'm gonna assume is the other lot there. If you look at ownership of both of these, then you're looking at 22,233 square feet
And the total proposed impervious is,
as a total impervious. So
what's the total
Can you
impervious?
repeat that number?
No.
Sorry.
It's
I get-
22,233.
yep.
I can do a quick calculation.
Because if we say the paper road still needs to be considered, he couldn't build the addition because it's not on his lot.
Well, they already have their concrete driveway in Lippman Lane.
So if you were to use the total square footage of the lots in question, the existing would be 13.7 and the proposed would be 15.5%, which I think would still require a variance.
It would still
Yes.
require a variance for the
Yes.
impervious increase.
Yes, sir.
It's right, because the majority of this lot calculation, you only took the paper road out.
Oh, he only took the paper
of
road
the
out.
calculation,
Yeah,
so we just
okay.
added that area back in.
Thanks, Dan, for clarification.
No problem.
So Adam, could we get around this by making a motion that the plan gets approved as submitted, subject to the two lots remaining under the same ownership?
But how do we respond to the paper road issue?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we discussed with Dan and Andrew, the township engineer earlier, was that you could do something subject to that issue being resolved, the ownership of the paper street being resolved to satisfaction of the township or something like that. Some provision that kind of addresses that issue.
Okay.
So that way you can, if you want to grant it, you could grant it tonight, but that issue would still have to be addressed in the same way that, a lot of these building permit issues have to be addressed. They
Yep.
have the zoning relief, but they still have to go through those other steps.
All right, so
And if you wanted to combine those properties, then that could be a possibility as well.
I think I can see the path forward here. So that assumption on the paper road would mean the calculation would have to be what Dan just put up, which would be an approval for bringing the impervious surface up to 15.5%.
Yes, to that total of 22,233 square foot.
Yeah, so the number percentages we'd be looking at would be that.
Yes.
Okay, so in either case, there was no I don't see mitigation proposed on here, was there?
I believe they did. Well, they were proposing trees,
All
so I don't know how.
Judy, you want to do this one?
I'll do this tree song and dance. We all love trees. I especially do. But trees, they can die from old age. They can get hit by lightning, with a car, whatever, or the next owner may decide they don't like them for some weird reason and cut them down. So we can't consider trees as mitigation.
So like you heard in the last discussion, they talked about putting a seepage bed below grade, a stone, basically excavation, filling it with stone and then covering it up with sidewalk or grass or whatever the case might be. That's what the board tends to look for because it's permanent or more permanent might be the better way to phrase it. So Dan, do you want to give them a?
I can make a calculation again real quick.
And that's something your contractor or engineer can handle. That's easy stuff for them.
What is behind your property?
The canal.
The canal?
The canal.
Yeah.
That's one of those little properties down off the canal that is,
All right.
they were like these little postage stamp lots, and then half of them got built, but half of them didn't. So they started combining the lots together, to make really cool properties.
Yeah, we had an appeal in this area about 2 years ago where somebody else was looking to do an addition and had combined lots.
Yeah. They're really cool little properties down there, and you get to look out over the canal and everything.
So a 3 feet deep by 6 foot wide and 10 feet in length seepage bed would suffice. It would give you about 72 total runoff volume controlled, where 69 cubic feet needs to be mitigated.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a question. So where are we shaking out with when we go to make a motion with Lippman Lane? How's that factoring into a motion?
We'd have to make it conditional on, I'm moving to get the exact wording, but it's going to be a condition that the Lippman Lane paper road is part of this property, because that directly impacts everything from, they can't even build in it if it's still a separate easement consideration.
And we're going to require what? Evidence of that?
It's relatively easy. If it's been
Extinguished.
then it's been recorded with the deeds. So also, I mean, I can come up with some of the language here if that helps, but all I would suggest is we require that either the deed is provided to the township, or a licensed surveyor in Pennsylvania confirms that the deed has been extinguished, and something to that effect.
Yeah, you could have it. Again, I spoke with Andrew earlier. And township engineer could confirm that, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So you could, in the same way we do a lot of the stuff with, subject to the approval of the township or township engineer, they could certainly do that here as well.
Which may even trigger that GIS gets updated and that gets pulled out of there.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice.
Is there any comment on public online for this one? Okay, no public comment online. So do you understand in essence what we're about to make a motion on? Okay, so it sounds like you're the lucky winner on this one, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Dan, you
All
want to
right.
give them the percentages? It's 15.5, but mitigating back to 13.7, I think was what it was.
Yes, so the existing is 13.7 and the proposed would be 15.5%.
So I'll make a motion that the plan is approved as submitted, subject to mitigation of the 15.7 back to the 13 point. I think I just screwed up those numbers, but anyway, 13.5, subject to the applicant providing proof to the township engineer that Lippman Lane easement has been extinguished and ownership of lots 20-028-030 and 20-028-031, inclusive of the former Lippman Lane, remain under the applicant's ownership.
I would like to add stormwater mitigation subject to review by the township engineer.
Agreed.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? That. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
All right, motion carries. There you go. So you have a couple next steps, so I would suggest you talk to Dan and Jim about those. Thank you.
Our today, not today.
Take care.
All right, next up. And I do have a question about the numbering scheme here. I'll ask you about afterwards, Dan. It seems like there's some typos in here in the numbering scheme. So I'm going to assume it's Appeal 23-2003.
Yes, so the reason, and I discussed this with Adam earlier. So we got a new permitting system called OpenGov,
Okay,
and for some reason, we can only label it a certain way in that website. They need a letter dash, and then it started with 1 for this year for some reason. So I think this was our best way to kind of combine.
okay, so these are the real numbers, huh?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you'll learn to hate OpenGov. Just putting that out there.
All right, Appeal Z23-3-2003. Are they online?
Yes, I have Thomas online in the waiting room right now.
Yep.
I'm into the library. Hello, Thomas, you are now in the meeting. Click board. Hey there.
Hello, okay, so can you state your name and be sworn in?
Yep. Thomas Philpott.
Is he
The applicant.
It's the applicant.
Thomas Philpott.
So you solemnly swear to testify will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Someone's gonna echo.
Getting an echo. I apologize.
Our technical people are trying to deal with that right now.
It could well be my problem. Maybe Thomas is from picking up the meeting. Wow.
Okay, yeah, Tom, the feedback is coming from you. So either mute your phone speakers or, okay.
There you go.
All right, Adam's going to read the exhibits in.
Sure. We have the application is A1, the site plan as A2. Once again, the impervious surface calculations and the stormwater management small project volume controls will be marked collectively as A3. Proof of publication is B1, proof of posting B2, and B3 notice to the neighbors.
Okay, Tom, with only one microphone on and one speaker, can you explain what it is you're looking to do?
Yeah, so we're essentially looking to construct a small 8 by 12 shed in the back corner of our property. Looking to put it within the kind of the 2 feet and 7 feet that you can see in that top corner to avoid kind of planting over any trees or plants that we've got on the property.
All right, I believe the board will have questions, so.
This is just like your standard shed that you pick up at
Yeah, so
Lowe's or
this was just a plot plan that someone has used in the past before for permits, so we just provided this to the resident as a courtesy, so they wouldn't have to hire a surveyor. And they just transposed the new shed construction in the top right.
Okay.
Yes, it's just the shed that's being proposed. I know it's a little bit of a
And
mess,
the new
but-
deck is what's actually.
Yeah,
now. Okay, just want to clarify.
Dan, what is the minimum side setback and what is the minimum rear setback for a shed?
10 feet.
10 feet.
10 feet. That's what I thought. Thank you.
And this setback, from what I can kind of read, is two and 7.
So 2 feet from the rear and 7 feet from the side yard.
It's usually 10 and 10.
Yes.
What I
So, Tom, could you take a minute to explain why it's important not to adhere to the 10 and 10?
Yeah, if we did the 10 and 10, kind of I figure that we're going to be about over where the kind of the yellow highlighted for deck is. That would be where we've got a recently planted kind of over the last 2 years tree that we wouldn't particularly want to get rid of. And obviously we go the same on the left hand side. In the last couple of years, we've planted a couple of kind of small pawpaw trees that we wouldn't want to take over. So we figure it's the most appropriate place on the property, and it aligns with kind of what we've seen from our neighbours and where their sheds are.
Have you had a discussion with the 2 adjacent neighbors?
We have on the right side. I have not on the back side.
Hey, Dan, can you pull up an aerial of this area?
Certainly, one sec.
A question here for Dan on this deck. The new deck is shown as larger than the existing deck. Is this considered pervious? What's his proposed deck design?
As long as water can pass through the deck, we don't consider it impervious.
He's not putting.
No, so that's, sorry, we probably should have used a clearer plan. But since it was just a shed, we provided them with an old one. But the deck is sort of relevant to this. But I mean, as long as water can pass through the deck, then it wouldn't be impervious per our ordinance.
Correct. So it's not roofed either then, correct?
It is not.
Go ahead and ask.
wait, kind of wanted to see.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry, just waiting for it to load.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
we're looking at.
There it is in Lower Makefield.
They recently just uploaded the 2023 aerial, so this is within the past couple of months. A little fun fact.
Can we zoom in a little bit more?
And get that block out of the way.
You guys are awfully demanding. I mean, give Dan a break.
So, I mean,
There we go.
Pretty open.
Thomas, when I'm looking at your yard, I'm curious why we're not putting this thing in the other corner and adhering to the 10 foot by 10 foot.
So it's tough to see from this aerial shot, but you can see that we've got a garden bed in that other corner. It's brown. We hadn't mulched it since last year. That's the location where we've got the pawpaws on that left side.
I'm really sorry. I'm having trouble understanding you. Is it possible to speak up?
Yeah, of course. That back left corner, that is where we have our pawpaw trees. It's tough to see. They are literally sticks at the moment. But that's where those trees exist, and we would not want to kind of take them out. That's now a rather large garden bed. So again, tough to see from this aerial shot because it wasn't done with black mulch.
So it looks like your neighbors also have sheds in the back corner. And this looks like a gazebo or pavilion.
That's a pavilion. The original circle is 2 sheds, and in the bottom or to the left of that gazebo, there's also a shed that is kind of aligns with our property as well.
I'm going to ask also right now, is there any public comment? Oh, okay. So, all right, back to the board. Any other questions from the board?
I mean, I'm just struggling with, I feel like there's room even though there's trees been planted. But Matt makes a great point when he's pointing out that there's other sheds that are clearly non-conforming right in that area where Thomas wants to put his. Just curious, like anybody else on the board's feelings on that. Maybe we should talk about it.
Well, to me, the fact that he's grouping it with where other people have also put their sheds and as you said, stuck them, they're non-conforming, they stuck them close to the property line, makes it a little bit more understanding. I do see a rather large tree out there too that's would end up screening from lot 142. And it looks like lot 012 has a fence between the 2 properties. I don't know what type of fence, but it's, it'd be around a swimming pool. So ideally it would be screening the shed. Is there a fence between your property and lot 142?
There is, yes. It's a wood fence, probably 7 foot, 7, 8 feet. I'm trying to get it completely right.
Okay. So I mean, just thinking out loud here, your standard shed isn't that big. It's and it would be primarily screened from the other properties by this existing fence. So I think that mitigates anybody's issue with the view. He's not putting it exactly on the property line, so there is the ability to get behind it if any type of maintenance needs to be done without going on to somebody else's property.
You go ahead and make an ask.
Yeah, I do have an ask. It's
Mhm.
not even 3 feet, and I'm wondering, how do you get a lawnmower or anything back there, or weed cutters or anything else? I mean, that's really tight. It's, I think it's about the size of the sidewalk. This, or not even.
Not even.
Not even. I mean, the new sidewalks are wider, and that concerns me, Things do grow. Yeah.
Things do grow.
That's my
Battling with
concern.
weeds right now. Now, I do believe that I would be able to get behind there with a weed whacker. Yeah, and with the other structures that are around there, we've not noticed any significant growth.
Would you
around there.
consider making it the full 3 feet?
I can make it 3 feet.
Makes it a little easier.
Mike, you've been awfully quiet. Any comments?
No, I mean, I get it. You know, what we're trying to do. The other 2 fences are there. That looks like, I don't think they probably have a variance. But I mean, the rule is 10 foot. It's kind of hard to just say, hey, yeah, go ahead. It's fine because everybody else did it. But I understand it. The layout of the yard, it makes complete sense. Even at the 2 feet, nothing's going to grow back there. It's a weed whackers. You know what I mean? He's going to, what's really, he's not going to have sod back there, really nice grass. It's going to be all just weeds because nothing's going to grow between the fence and there. So I'm good with it.
All right. Well, as a reminder, there was no public comment and the neighbors would have all been noticed by this. So we do appreciate it, though, just for anybody that happens to watch this in the future, that if you're asking for stuff like this, to please check with your neighbors ahead of time and have them provide some sort of a sense that they're okay with it. It makes our decision-making process easier. All right. I guess we'll entertain a motion and we'll go over to Judy on this one. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve appeal number Z-23-3-2003 with the provision that it be 3 feet instead of the 2 feet, whatever, 4. And subject to the approval of the township engineers.
A second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. That's a majority. So it passes as just described.
Thank you very much.
You're good. Yeah. You've got to finish up with the township, but you're good.
Good to know.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any other business to go over tonight? Besides the number of people turning in their resignation letters by planning to turn their resignation letters in by July 31st. So that you let Dan know that he needs to let the township know that we need to go publicize for more members.
Our next meeting is Monday, May 15th, not Tuesday, May 16th. May 16th is primary day. So our meeting will be Monday, May 15th.
How many appeals, Dan? I thought we had tried to clear up appeals because of the potential continuance. Do we have an appeal on that date?
There are definitely variances for the date. I don't
Okay.
know.
There are though. Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. So next meeting's on Monday, the 15th. I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will definitely move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Meeting's over. See everybody in 2 weeks.
See you guys. Thank
See
you.
you guys.